Kick it off, Ronnie.
Simon, is that probably one of the more disappointing games you've been involved in as coach at Melbourne?
I think it's AFL footy. I think we've seen that already in the first 2 weeks, that we're playing a pretty tough competition. And you've got to acknowledge North for what they brought today. Their pressure, their intensity, their ability to win contests, their ability to win the ball around those scrimmage areas was elite. And we weren't quite to that level. And if you're not to that level in AFL footy, you get punished. And today we got punished. And for a big part of the day, we were just hanging in. And ultimately, in the last quarter, the dam wall broke and they were just winning too much around the centre of the ground and too much in their front half of the ground in contests. So when that happens, the scoreboard starts to tick over.
Simon, what's it like as a coach watching an 11 minutes like that, where a game is just ruthlessly ripped away from you and you're sitting there almost powerless?
Yeah, look, obviously losing the centre bounces the way we did early in that last quarter and put us under enormous pressure. That's tough to watch, and we've got to be better at how we arrest momentum, especially around the centre square when that time happens. But that was the disappointing part, that I felt all day that was coming. And we acknowledge and we accept that it's not to the level. And we acknowledge and accept how good North Melbourne were. And we've got to make sure we give them the credit they deserve, because they deserve it. But I'm sure at the same time, we also acknowledge that, that's a part of our game that we need to be a lot better at and weren't today. And we copped our right whack today.
It almost looked like in the last quarter that you sort of just almost like very tired, no energy, lethargic. Did you see that way? And if so, did that surprise you, the way you sort of looked like you ran off your feet almost?
I thought all day that was certainly a part of the game. The speed of the game, and as I said, you got to show up every time you come to an AFL game, and that's what the game demands. And we play it for 27 weeks, but we're 2 weeks in. And we're certainly not going to create a crisis. We're going to get to work. We've got enormous belief in our people and our program and the work we've done over the summer to just stay the course. But, we'll be looking to respond like a lot of clubs do in this position. So we're no different in that space. We'll certainly review pretty hard, look at some of the things that in the first couple of weeks that we can take forward and some of the things that we need to get right. But today, that intensity around stoppage, clearance, tackle, pressure, scrimmage, not to the level.
There's also the third quarter. You had plenty of chances to put more pressure on them on the scoreboard, but you just couldn't. There were times you just looked like, Combin was, 12 marks, right?
Yeah.
You looked like you couldn't buy a goal at times.
Yeah, look, we finally got some decent supply in the game, 20 to 9, and we just didn't move the ball in the way that we wanted to. Once we had that dominance, we were just very straight line, very bomby. It's certainly not the way we're certainly trained. So we'll go to work on that. When you get your dominance in the game and you don't get reward, that's sometimes when you suffer as well. So we'll look into that. But as I said, we're 2 weeks into a pretty long campaign. And we're nowhere near where we want to be in terms of reaching our potential, and we'll keep working with players. And I thought Chandler today typified a little bit of some of the growth that we're going to keep seeing. I thought he was outstanding in the way he played. He played 5 different positions and got them all done.
You won the inside 50s today and lost by 10 goals. I mean, I know we're only 2 rounds in, but it seems like a recurring theme that's happened to your club for a few years now. It's creeping into a new season. Is that an alarm bell for you early in the season, or are you not concerned? How do you sort of see that?
I think when you win the territory battle for the game and lose the score the way we did, it's something we need to keep working at. You got to acknowledge that and put your hand up and say, yeah, we're going to keep working on it. But I think a lot of it came in one quarter, and I think that's where it was a bit disappointing. We sort of lost our way a little bit with the ball through that quarter, and it cost us pretty bad.
Just on a personal note, it's not often you see the captain lose a ruck duel. How was he post-match? I imagine, did that dent his pride a little bit, the skipper? He's not like they're a little club within the comp.
Yeah, they are.
They're competitive.
Yeah, and our people are really important to us, and Max is one of those guys. And today, I think he'll acknowledge that he got beaten by a really good opponent today. But you also got to realise that in life there are other things that are going on. So. We'll support Max. He's a great person. He's a great leader. And, there's a backstory to everyone's performance. And Max is someone that we take enormous pride in, and he's going to continue to be a great leader for this footy club, and he'll be a big part of our response.
There's an obvious follow-up question there. Can you go?
Yeah, look, I'm not going to go into the details, but he's someone that there's footy and there's some stuff in life, and we just got to understand that people have backstories, and he's someone that we love dearly, and he'll certainly be a big part of our response.
Just back to the forward midfield connection. Are you confident you'll be able to fix that this season, like at some stage?
Yeah.
Just given it's, it's...
Yeah, I am. I know it's going to be a story and a narrative. It's, in some ways, when you're 2 weeks in and you haven't seen the change you want, everyone's going to go down that path. But, we're confident with the work we've done over the summer that we'll start to see it. Last week we played in a pretty wet game, and tonight we were nowhere near the level around the ball to give us the looks that we'd like.
Simon, when you go back to sort of the most success you've had at this club, going back a few years ago, you were setting record numbers in contested possession differential. You were dominating in there. People are talking about Petrarca and Oliver being top 5 players in the comp, all those sorts of things. Do you still feel like that combination, that top 4, Gawn, Viney, Petrarca, Oliver, is still one of the best combinations in the comp, or do you feel like you've slipped a little bit there? Because I think back to the Fremantle game last year, there were a few different games like that, and you lose again today quite comfortably. Where do you feel like that combination's at now?
Yeah, look, I think we've finally got them all back together as one. That's a starting point for us, and now we work on how we maximise and get better. But we'll continue to add to that group as well. We've put a fair bit of time into Tom Sparrow. Harvey Langford's someone we've brought to our footy club that's still learning his trade and still understanding what AFL footy is about, but he'll come into that mix as well as the season goes on. So, we're certainly not finished in there, and we've still got a lot of work to do through the middle of the ground. But those guys, we've got enormous trust in them that they're going to get back to their best and operate really well together.
Was any Jake Lever? How was he?
Jake Lever's got a rolled ankle,
Yeah.
so he'll be assessed, but should be fine. And Stephen May saw a specialist and got some pretty positive news. So once again, we'll get listen to all the instructions through the week and make sure that he's right to go.
And Jefferson?
Jefferson looks like he's got a fracture to his hand.
Is he right or left?
Not sure. I'll have to go and have a look.
Thanks, Footy.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Simon.